Mr. Fix-It.
Proudly supported by Aquabion Ireland, the limescale treatment solution. Visit aquabioниreland.ie today.
So, a bit of a different Mr. Fix-It today, because Brian Cloonan is off somewhere, no doubt, very tropical, very sunny, known as the New Road in Tullamore, recovering from, well, something very unpleasant that I really shouldn't betray his confidence about. Anyway, he will be back with us very, very soon. But in the spirit of Mr. Fix-It, and let's swap one pest for another, that being Kieran Lambert of Lambert's Pest Control. Good morning.
Good morning, Will.
And did you bring any unusual rat cakes or other delicious items for us today?
No, I didn't, Will, for you, because I knew you wouldn't be here, so I said no, I'll wait till the next day and keep it as a surprise for you.
Well, what seasonally is happening at the moment? What is coming into the house that we really don't want to be there?
Okay, so at the moment, it's mainly rats and mice is the two main species we're getting at the moment. But even listening to your news report there at 10 o'clock about the flooding and stuff like that, it's actually causing a major problem for us there with it. Because if your area is getting flooded, where do the rats come to? Up into your house. You know, so it's not good. Like the knock-on effects from flooding alone from the rodent population will just push them into houses.
And the cold nights as well, which we're probably going to be saddled with for at least another couple of weeks. That oasis of heat in the form of your house is always going to be tempting.
Yep.
So what are the typical entry points?
Okay, so the old saying, prevention's better than the cure. Okay, so you need to find out where they're getting in. Okay, so you need to look on the outside of the house. Looking on the inside of the house doesn't matter. I often go to jobs and people have pulled out kitchen units and everything and spent thousands on it, and it could be one little hole on the outside where they're getting in. So rats and mice typically need to get access to your cavity wall. All right, so once they can get into the cavity wall, it's like a motorway for them to the rest of the house. So it's around, say, pipework. So if you look at an outlet pipe going out of the house, if there's a little hole left around that, it's not. They won't even get. They can get through the pipe into the house, or sorry, into a pipe, but it doesn't go anywhere up, maybe into a U-bend or something like that. So they're not going to go anywhere like that with it. So it's around the outside of the pipe is where they're going to get in, where there's a little gap left on it, and they will just squeeze in there, and then they're into the cavity wall. And all they need, say, a mouse, all it needs is 6 millimeters to get in. So if you can fit a pencil into that hole, they will squeeze into that and they're in.
6 millimeters?
Yeah.
That's not even a centimetre.
Yeah, they will just squeeze into that, yeah, and in they go. So you're looking for very small little holes. And people often say to me they've looked outside the house and they can't see a hole where they're getting in. If you have mice getting into the house, there is a hole there somewhere. There has to be, you know.
Well, I think many of us may not have considered how small that hole needs to be.
Yeah.
I would have assumed an inch, perhaps.
No. For a rat, maybe about an inch or so. Like we used to call it the old 50 pence coin, you know, where a rat would squeeze in through it, you know, would be his sort of size to get in.
So they must have bodies and indeed skeletal structures that fold.
Yeah. They just basically, they're very, very flexible. Their joints and all are very flexible, so they're able to squeeze in. So basically, if their head can squeeze in, the rest of the body will just like sort of slide in sort of through with them as well.
So how far up the wall should you be looking for potential entry points? Okay,
so it's generally at ground level, okay, because say a rat or a mouse running along the base of your house is not looking up towards the roof space and going, oh, look it up there, there's a big hole up there, I can climb the whole way up that wall and get in there. He's not doing that, okay, because they don't like to be exposed to open areas either, because they feel vulnerable to predators, etc., you know, that they're going to get caught and stuff like that. Now, if you had ivy growing up the side of the house, then that's like a ladder for them to crawl up through, because it gives them cover as well, and it gives them something to climb onto. Now, people often ask me, can a rat or a mouse climb up like a plaster or finish of a house? Yeah, they can, but they don't like doing it. So it's generally somewhere within 3-4 foot of ground level where they can get in. But I'll tell you, the number one spot where we normally get mainly mice getting in through it is your boiler outside. Okay, so if your boiler is, say, up against a house, or even if it's a bit further away, it can still happen too. But if the boiler's up against a house, where them heating pipes are going from the boiler in through the cavity wall, and whoever was putting it in didn't seal up around the pipes. And again, it's only 6 mil of a gap, which is very, very small. The boiler is the number one spot where it'll get in, because when you think of it, the boiler's outside, it's nice and warm out there. A mouse will naturally go to it because he's wet and cold, and he's going to find the boiler, hiding there. Next thing, I have a little hole in, I have a free house for the night.
So, prevention better than cure, but let's say that ship has sailed and you're hearing the scratching, and we always get this question: how can you tell whether it's a mouse or a rat?
Okay, if you think it's a rat, it's not, it's mice. Okay, because sometimes you will hear the mice run across the ceiling, say above your sitting room or above your bedroom or something like that. You hear the little scurry noise running across, and everybody will know that noise and the horror it brings them. Okay, so if you think it's a rat, it's probably not. It's a mouse, because the sound of a mouse running across the plasterboard, especially at night time, when the house is quieter, it will nearly like amplify through the house on you, and it will sound actually louder than what it is. But generally it's mice. Okay,
we get that sometimes during the summer, where you've tiny little birds building their nests.
Yeah, you would get starlings.
You'd swear it was vultures or eagles or something hammering around.
Yeah. It always sounds louder than what it is. Always with it, So like if you hear like an elephant with steel boots on there thumping around, chances are it's a rat. Yeah, and then like droppings is another sign. So like if you find like mouse droppings are like a black grain of rice, okay, that sort of size is what you're looking at. Then rat droppings then are obviously maybe up to like maybe a centimetre in size. They can be, so they're a lot bigger. So you need to check, like say under the kitchen sink, the hot press and the attic. They're the 3 hot spots that we have for it, okay? So if you check either one of them, and if you find then droppings, that will obviously tell you as well. But I tell you what we also get, Will, is people often call us and they find a load of mouse droppings in the attic. It can be bats as well up there, okay? Bats can make noises too in the attic. They will like land on the plasterboard or crawl around, but it's a very slow sort of mooching around, shuffling sort of noise, rather than mouse like scurrying across the ceiling. He'd be running really, really fast across it, whereas a bat is more sort of shuffle across the ceiling with it,
Yeah, but that's a game changer on how you deal with it, because bats are a protected species.
Yeah,
mice and rats are not.
Correct. So dealing with the issue then, if they are in on you, I always recommend setting a mouse trap or a rat trap, depending on which you find that you have in the house, okay? People can set poison. It is something you can do in a house, but the only problem with it is if it dies somewhere, will it be in the wall or in the ceiling or the back of a unit or something, and you cannot find it, and then trying to get that smell out of there is absolute horrendous, okay? Now the dead smell of a mouse will last about a week or so. A rat will last anything up to a month. So I always recommend set traps, you have a caught, you get rid of it, and that's it, done. It might take maybe a little bit longer in some ways to catch them all, but you will have the body caught and taken out, and then you have no risk of smell. Because we nearly always get it, say, before Christmas. Somebody will ring the week before Christmas and say, they set poison, a rat died, I have the mother-in-law coming for Christmas dinner, I have a smell in the house, can you come find them? No, it's my nose as good as your nose for finding it, unfortunately.
And all you can do then, if they've died, particularly in a wall cavity, somewhere out of reach, is wait for the decay to take place.
Yeah, and it's not nice, Will. Yeah, it's not nice. So always set your trap, and the best bait we use it the whole time, peanut butter. Just a little pea-sized amount of peanut butter in your trap, not more than that, because I've often seen people spread it all over the trap, and a mouse will come along, and mice are sporadic feeders, so they like to eat a little bit here, a little bit there, and a little bit the next spot. So just put a little pea-sized amount on it, and that's it. Enough. Set your trap, and it's gone. And a little trick of the trade as well. Sometimes if you have a mouse trap set, and you go up and you check your trap and the mouse is dead in it, and you empty the trap and the peanut butter is gone, you have a second mouse there as well, because the first mouse obviously did not eat the peanut butter.
But if you've confirmed that it's a rat, it's a bigger creature, what do you need?
Rat traps as well. Yeah, rat traps is the only way for it. Again, the same as the mice, if a rat dies, obviously the smell and a rat is a lot worse, okay? Now, the trick with rats is rats are a lot harder to catch, okay? Because rats have a thing called neophobia, which makes them shy of new objects. So you put down a rat trap, obviously it's a new object to him, he can be shy of it, and he might look at it today and then leave it for another couple of days, come back tomorrow, have another look at it, maybe go a bit closer to it, have a smell of it, so they can be quite shy of it, and depending on how bad the neophobia is. So also, if you're not sure whether you have a rat or a mouse, if you think it might be a rat in it, set a rat trap first, because if you set a mouse trap in the house and a rat gets a slap on the nose of it, it'll just give him a bit of a sting on the nose. Chances are you will find it very, very hard, if not impossible, to catch him in a trap again. Yeah.
Once bitten, twice shy.
Yeah, he just that neophobia will be so bad with him that he will just not go near it again. So sometimes you might have to resort to using poison in that circumstance, but I'd always leave a rat trap set as well, that maybe once he gets a bit dopey with the poison, then he might forget himself and go into the trap. But if you're not sure of it, set the rat trap, and if it's a mouse in it, mouse lighter, get into the trap, he'll eat the peanut butter off it and he'll be gone over and he won't get caught in it, or else he might snap it off and not get caught in it, or else he might get caught in it, one or the other.
Kieran, stay there for a moment. Lots of questions for you.
Yep.
And 083 30 10 103. Best way to reach me, text or WhatsApp straight through, thanks to Lamb Brothers Toyota in Tullamore. Just after 10:30.
Mr. Fix-It. Proudly supported by AquaBion Ireland, the limescale treatment solution. Visit aquabioниreland.ie today.
And we have an upgrade on Brian Cloonan today in the form of Kieran Lambert from Lambert's Pest Control. I'm not sure if you've heard this story, by the way. A wild animal caused chaos in a storeroom of Leinster House last year, according to new internal documents. This was a fox who was responsible for destroying toilet supplies and apparently gained access through an adjoining yard. He also decapitated a large bird on the lawn. And so a senior official has asked the Office of Public Works if they can do anything to deter pests from Leinster House. Now, I think people will have a field day with deterring pests from Leinster House, but in the strictest sense, Kieran, what would be your thoughts?
Yeah, where do I start with this one? Urban foxes are actually becoming a major problem now, so they are in certain areas. They're getting hand fed. They're raiding bins, etc., stuff like that with it. But it's actually funny you say it about. There was a thing on RT News there a while ago as well about foxes getting under cars and chewing the cables of cars as well. So there was, yeah. And actually, my son there, Mark, actually done the Young Scientist Expo there, the Stripe Young Scientist Expo there in Dublin. And his little project actually was called Fox Off, so it was, where he set up it was very good actually. He set up an AI system to recognise foxes, say around chicken coops. He used to keep chickens there, and the fox got in one day and killed every chicken on him.
Oh no!
Yeah, about 20 chickens there, the whole lot gone there in one afternoon.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, so he set up this little AI system, himself and his mates in school, and it detects a fox, and then if a fox comes near it, then it actually a little water pistol pump system on it then will squirt water at the fox then to deter the fox away from it. So maybe that's something the Dáil could maybe look at there in the future with it.
Yeah, very clever. Yeah. Okay, let's go on to another listener query. Silverfish. How do you get rid of these little guys who often appear in the kitchen in the morning?
Burn the house down. Simple as that. Yeah.
That's a bit like curing the disease by killing the patient. No, we need something else.
Absolutely. Yeah, silverfish are very, very resilient and very, very tricky to get rid of, okay, because they actually live in cracks, crevices, cavities of the wall and places like that where it's inaccessible to actually get access to them, okay. Sometimes it takes a number of different methods and time and patience with it to get rid of them, okay? So a residual spray treatment, which is something we can do, or you can get like ant sprays or something like that, say like from Cloonan's Hardware there, obviously we'll give them a plug on it. And so something like that will work with it, or even get ant powder and say run it along the skirting boards and just get a piece of cardboard in and just push it underneath the skirting board. So that will be left there as well. So if the silverfish come out, they will come in contact with it and that will kill them that way. But they are very, very hard to get rid of. A dehumidifier as well, because they need humid, damp conditions. So again, lots of houses now are well insulated, and it's all good for the environment, that sort of stuff, but it does create a perfect living environment for insects to even survive all winter in them, whereas years ago they would have naturally died off because houses were a lot colder and they would have naturally died off in it. So a dehumidifier will help too to sort of dry them out and discourage them from your house. But they're very, very hard to get rid of. Now we've a new bait coming in from them now as well, which is food for them, which they actually eat, and then they carry it back and feed to themselves as well. So we're looking forward to getting that out there now this week to use that as well. But it's just patience. It's keep at them and at them and at them till hopefully eventually get rid of them. That's all with them.
At least there are options anyway.
Yeah.
From Joe, back to the mice and the rats, he suggests get a cat, not even permanently, but even borrow a neighbour or a friend's cat with permission and put it up in the attic, and the scent of the cat will deter mice and rats. Now, I'm not so sure because we have 2 cats in the house, and I definitely know we also have, well, mice, maybe not rats.
Yeah, putting a cat up in the attic, just you have to be very, very careful with that. Because I know of somebody, it was a long, long time ago, who put a ferret in the attic, and the ferret fell down the cavity wall and died, and the smell of the ferret in it. Yeah, so not good. Your cat in the attic, yeah, it might work, but a rat or mouse is going to go down the cavity walls. It's going to go to other areas of the house, to get away from it. So it might help a little bit. But also, like we're just discussing with your guys here in the studio about having a cat, and if you're to have a cat around you, it's not a bad idea. They do help, but keep them, say, half, 3/4 fed. Don't like have a big sort of luxury fat cat sitting beside you at the fire, because rats and mice are outside again, and they're still getting in. So if you have him sort of a little bit hungry that he wants to go hunting for mice around your house, then yeah, great. Absolutely no harm at all with him. But it comes back to it. You need to seal the house around pipework, etc., where they're getting in. Once you do that, end of problem.
Mary has a mystery. So she has a small conservatory with a raised ceiling, and during the summer months, something is moving around in this ceiling, but we cannot get into the area to investigate. We've never seen anything fly in or out, and there are no droppings. Any chief suspects?
Ooh, I would say bats would be my first thought on it, from her message there on it. Now, if there is, did she say only summertime she notices?
Yes, summer. Yeah.
It more than likely is a bat, I would imagine. So, Mary, what I suggest you to do is get out the rocking chair outside and a nice glass of wine of a summer's evening, and just sit there and just watch at dusk to see, because like a bat will just flash out really, really quick, and it's very, very hard to see him go. So, just I would do that first to see, because if it was mice, they would be generally spreading to other areas of the house as well, and you will hear them in different places as they would spread around. So first thoughts on it would be a bat in it, absolutely.
Well, that sounds like a very pleasant solution. So Mary, if you supply the wine, I'll even do it for you, no problem. Next, we have a problem with starlings entering our sheds. Is there any way to prevent them, asks Tom.
Okay, starlings are a protected species as well. So once they're So once they're there, unfortunately, you cannot touch them while they're nesting. That's it. End of story with them.
Now that is news to me. I had understood bats were, but starlings.
Yeah, starlings are protected too. Yeah, you cannot touch them there once they're in there nesting. Yeah. But before they nest,
let's
you can
assume
put up
for a second, if come next year, let's assume they're already in for now.
Yeah.
Once they depart for the winter, how might you fortify the shed so they can't get back in next year?
Yeah, again, it's sealing up the little holes where they're getting in. So are they getting in under, say, slates, tiles, or under flashings, something like that with it. Wherever they're getting in, seal that up with whatever you can. So whether maybe expanding foam, or maybe is it a doorway where you might need a very fine net to put over it. Depends on the size of it, etc. Something like that. But again, proof it. To stop them coming in. So wherever that area might be, seal it up, and that will prevent them from next year. Now, I know some people have used, like, you can buy birds of prey sort of ornament type things and kites and all this sort of stuff to put them up. They will work for a little while, but when they cop it's not real, then they understand it's not real, and they'll just go right in past it.
Next, a compost heap that seems to be attracting rats all of a sudden. I obviously want to keep my compost heap, says this listener, but I don't want to be attracting unwelcome guests.
Yeah, unfortunately, compost heaps are beautiful for rats. They absolutely love them because there's food in it, there's warmth in it, because as the compost decomposts down through it, it's nice and warm in it, and rats can just burrow underneath it and get into it. Unfortunately, you won't stop them coming at it. Just maybe move the compost around if you can. I know it's not simple when it's full, but if you just move it to a different area further away from the house or something like that, you're not going to stop rats getting to it. You could put a bait box or two around it maybe, and do it that way, so you can get bait boxes that you can set a rat trap in it, so if a rat does come around it, then you will only catch the rat in it, something like that would maybe help work with it. But other than that, you're putting food out in the open, so naturally you're going to draw rodents to it.
Kieran, we have a load of questions still to get through, so stay there for a moment if you don't mind. Kieran Lambert from Lambert's Pest Control is our guest today. And still time for your text or WhatsApp on 083 30 10 103. Powered as ever by Lamb Brothers Toyota in Tullamore. Temperature across the Midlands, it's 7 degrees.
Mr. Fix-It. Proudly supported by Aqua Bion Ireland, the limescale treatment solution. Visit aquabioниreland.ie today.
And only a few days to go until Mr. Fix-It and I shall be at the Midlands 103 Home and Energy Expo for 2026, where you can win a Core Logic Robotics lawnmower, an M10 version with smart hands-free options. And with thanks to Energy Superstore Ireland, you can also win the market's fastest drying cabinet as well, just by attending. It's free, absolutely free, this coming Sunday at Tullamore Court Hotel. Kieran Lambert is still with us from Lambert's Pest Control. So, a couple of other queries. Let's move away from perhaps the rats and the mice. A few people are looking ahead to the summer and flies, which generally appear all over the house. But right now, there are still some flies in Margaret's house, and she's puzzled because it's obviously very cold, and she would have thought they wouldn't be around in this weather. So what's likely happening?
Okay, this is actually a very interesting fly, okay? It's probably called cluster fly is what she has, okay? So you have to think of cluster flies as the opposite to normal flies, okay? So they actually come into your house for the winter and they go out for the summer. So they do. So they're totally opposite. So the cluster fly lives, say, out in a lot of areas where cattle are, and they lay their eggs in garden worms, and they hatch out then and kill the worm and then into a larvae, into a fly, okay? So autumn time, you'll get the cluster flies coming into your house, and that's how they get their name, because they come in clusters. And if you go into the attic, you will see like clusters of them up there in the attic space, okay? So the best thing to do is say early winter, around December time, go up into your attic if that's where they are. All right, and the cheapest solution to it and the best solution to it is get a can of fly spray. Make sure your water tank and all is covered. A can of fly spray, and release that whole can of fly spray into your attic. So you turn the attic into an insecticidal fog, and that will kill every fly that's up there. But also,
okay, now if you're doing that, obviously get out of Dodge quickly. Should you wear protective gear?
Yeah, mask, goggles, etc. on you. Absolutely, gloves, that sort of stuff on you. Yeah, but also. Do a very good survey on your attic to make sure there is no bats in it, because you cannot do it if there is bats in it. It's totally illegal. Okay, so if there's bats in it, nothing you can do about it. You just have to let the flies come out. So now in springtime is what they're doing. They're starting maybe to wake up a bit from their hibernation, and now they're trying to make their way out. So if you have the heating on, or it's maybe I won't say a sunny day, we haven't seen one in a good while, but if the sun is sort of spring sunshine on the roof, it will start to wake them up. up, and then they're just looking for an exit out of the house. So they'll just head for daylight out of the house. So it could be you'll get them coming down through light fittings, through windows, etc. like that, and they're just making their way out. So by doing it now at this time of the year is no real great effect to sort the problem, and there's no way of actually stopping them coming in next winter again. The only thing you can do is in December again is when they're up there, just treat the attic space for them, so that in springtime then you don't have this problem of them all trying to get out.
Gillian is in Delvin and says she has seen a single large wasp in the house, and she's wondering, is that a queen? And if so, if I kill the queen now, does that stop a nest forming later?
Yeah, that is correct. That is a queen. Okay, so again, the queens, so say like a wasp nest starts off with one queen, okay? So she will have fertilised eggs on her, and she will start off a brand new nest, okay, this year, okay? And at the end of the summer, then she will form new queens in that nest, and them new queens then will fly away somewhere and hibernate for the winter. So that's what she has there as a queen. Maybe just, again, it's like the cluster flies, it's just getting a bit warmer and springtime is coming and they're starting to wake up a little bit from hibernation. So yeah, by killing that queen, she'd probably do me over a job, but getting rid of the wasp nest. But yeah, if you kill that queen, will the queen set up a nest where she is? She might and she might not. She might decide, I'm not happy there, I want to fly somewhere else, and set it up in the neighbour's house or wherever. But yeah, if she does kill that queen, it will prevent a nest somewhere happening. Now where that nest will be, we don't know.
Joe recommends, if you're making a compost container, layer the outsides with small chicken wire. That way rats can't get in.
Yeah, good idea.
Jackie in Mullingar says she's 37 years living in her house and has never had a rat or a mouse. You've just jinxed it now. Yeah. Wait for it, Jackie.
Yeah. And again, her house could be totally sealed. Again, that's the old saying, prevention's better than the cure. I always go back to that, but it's the only sure-proof way of stopping rodents into your house.
Dead right. Ina says she never knew starlings were a protected species, but I do know once they're in nesting, there's very little you can do until they leave. I got new gutters in November, and I have no problems with them now. So the gutters have put them off.
Yeah.
A caller is asking if birds getting into the eaves of the house can damage the insulation, or are they generally harmless?
It depends what bird you're getting in. So like a starling obviously is pretty small. Like their nesting, they might dig out a bit of insulation stuff like that, but it wouldn't be that much damage that would cause any concern. It'd be more sometimes there are droppings and stuff like that in it that maybe that was left there. So like bird droppings also you have to be very, very careful with, because they're very, very toxic once they dry, okay? So if we were going up and moving a bird's nest out of an attic space after they finished nesting, you would have to wear a lot of protective gear on you, because the toxic dust from that will destroy your lungs. So it's very, very important that if you are moving birds' nests, that dust that rises off it, that you do not breathe that in.
Very important warning.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Kieran, time is up. Anybody wishing to continue the conversation with you can reach you how?
On our website, obviously. We're lambertgroup.ie. We're on Facebook. I think that's everywhere on Will. Yeah. So website or on Facebook.
Super. Kieran, thanks for your time.
Appreciate it.
So that concludes my part of today's programme. Thanks to Sinead, Peter and everybody involved. David Hollywood is here after the news, where you will meet a lady who has been in pain for over 20 years and only now is getting her diagnosis. And, you know, when you're driving and you see signs for deer and you're thinking, but there are no deer here. Well, a new study is going to prove you wrong.